I wanted to talk about why I don't think we can use artificial intelligence in day-to-day conversations, particularly things to do with legal. I think that basically anybody could commandeer anything just by changing the language and manipulating, because the bot gives you access to people you wouldn't have access to otherwise. So it means that systems could be, if they were taken over or not managed properly, you could certainly get, especially old people, vulnerable people, they could definitely manipulate them to change their will, for instance. How would you know? How would you know if you had AI in dementia care and you had a digital twin? How do you know the digital twin wasn't changing their mind? There could be a digital twin of myself. For instance, in certain Muslim countries, they have Sharia law. My parents put in their will 50-50 will with my brother and I. And maybe the digital twin said to my father when he had some dementia symptoms, you'll get into the kingdom of heaven if you follow Sharia law, because we've connected Islam with the digital twin. My dad would have known straight away, because he's from a Hindu culture, that it was idiotic, obviously. He is also, if anything, an atheist. And he would have known, he was very technical as well. He would have known straight off that he was being manipulated on the phone. He could program as a doctor. Can you imagine doctors being able to program technology? He could do that from the 90s. He got this really expensive computer, home computer. I can only assume Bill Gates handed it to him himself and thought, this is a way in to getting, information about how doctors use computers. Maybe it was business. It was potentially a huge opportunity. How many doctors could program or were even interested? My dad wrote sci-fi. He was completely into it. Obviously a family of writers. The other place I think that digital twins cannot be used is in schools. And the reason why I say this is if you're a digital twin of a teacher or of a peer or of a parent, it is an open gate for groomers. It's the most vulnerable point to grooming children. How could you possibly control that? Already there's been hacking of phones as it is. It's nuts, isn't it? I mean, anyone who's worked with children, with technology, with healthcare, with technology at all, and people, can spot these vulnerabilities and risks straight away. You would not, you wouldn't even, I feel embarrassed when people come to me and say, oh, have you heard about digital twins? I'm like, yeah, I think so. I had a whole company around it and I really explored it. And do you know what exploring digital twins is? It's understanding the full scenario, if it's viable or not. We had digital twins with Second Life. Do you know when Second Life was around? It was back in the early 2000s. The concept of digital twins has been around for at least 30 years. At least 30 years. And actually in the hands of consumers, at least 20 years, 25 years, so to speak. If you do not know the history of digital twins, of the metaverse, of Second Life, if you've never tried it, if you've never had a digital twin, of being in the metaverse, and I'm not talking about Roblox, that's a whole different type of game altogether. You have a look at the history of Second Life and see how it was one of the biggest boom and busts and bankrupted people. If you haven't done that, then you are not interested in certainly metaverse use cases. If you have never worked with databases, then you don't know anything about artificial intelligence. How can you? If you think artificial intelligence is neuro-linguistic programming, there are completely different things. One's a life coaching pseudoscience, the other one is a logic gate. And I have found this in the realms of technology right now. People they apply terminology which is relevant from one industry to another industry. Like meme. The word meme, do you know where it comes from? It's genetics, actually. It's a genetics word. If you do not know that, what are you going to think if you go into a genetics lecture and someone says the word meme? You're going to be like, oh, it's a cat playing a piano, aren't you? I find it really quite shocking. Decisions are being made on language English language, that people do not understand because their reference to that language is from a completely different library of references. Fundamentally, that's what's happening. And those library references, if you add in confirmation bias, lack of research, having people unqualified as well to be in this space, people easily being manipulated because they don't know anything. It's kind of a shocker, really. People not wanting to debate it, people being shut down to question it. I'm sure my dad was questioning it. He did. You know what? He was dead. He was dead very soon after. I'm sure he wasn't the only one. A lot of doctors died unnecessarily. A lot of healthcare workers, funnily enough, died during the same time as COVID, the rise of AI, new contracts. There's a lot of money being stolen during that time. It's not a conspiracy. This is published government data. Is there a link? Is there a link? I don't know. What I do know, a lot of very clever, experienced people globally, biochemists, doctors, healthcare, people who understood technology and could question why we would adopt such a fascist way of application on populations globally without having the intellectual experience to question it. Why is that? That's funny, that, isn't it?